Good morning, Ken.
A pretty full agenda here today. We will get this party started by me calling this meeting to order. City Council, Chester City Council meeting for Wednesday, July 24th. As always, we start these meetings with an invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning we have the pleasure of having Reverend Keith Dickens from the, as he always calls it, the historic Calvary Baptist Church. Please, all rise.
Let us pray. Thank you, O God, for this day. O God, we want to obey your word, to pray for all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. So we come today that you might bless this council, bless its members and its staff, that they might be able to govern as you would have them govern, and that the city of Chester would be blessed. God, we pray that you would give these leaders wisdom, that they would guide them to lead in a way that is good and just and right. Oh God, give us leaders for such a time as this. Demand strong minds, great hearts, true faith, and ready hands. Give us leaders who will seek to unite and not to divide. Give us leaders who will work for the good of Chester and not the special interests. Give us leaders who will act justly and love mercy and walk humbly with you, O God. Give us leaders who will get into what John Lewis called good trouble. We pray for wisdom, for strength, and for courage to lead and do what's right and good for all the people of Chester, young, old, rich, and poor, realizing that there is no greater call than the call to serve others. And God, we know that we are better together. God, we thank you for the leadership of the city of Chester, and we ask that you bless them and their efforts. In the name of Jesus, the Christ, whose perfect love sets us free from all of our fears. Amen.
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 Thank you, Pastor. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilors Green,
Present.
West,
Present.
Davis,
Present.
Mayor Roots.
Present. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for June 12th and 26th?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
By saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. It's time for you guys to take the mic if you have any public comment on agenda items only. Any agenda items only comments? Seeing none, we will move on. You guys are in for a treat this morning. It's a triple feature. We have 3 presentations. Let's get started with presentation number 1. Safe Sleep, Infant Mortality, presented by the Foundation of Delaware County.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Good morning, residents.
Good morning.
I am grateful to be here from the Foundation for Delaware County. We wanted to share a little information today with Council and with the community related to safe sleep education. Unfortunately, there's been an increase across the country in sleep-related infant deaths. So babies,
Please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie Kenyon. I work with the Foundation for Delaware County. We operate a Healthy Start program, a Nurse Family Partnership program, a Cribs for Kids program in Delaware County, but we have a special interest in the city of Chester through our Healthy Start program, which has been in the community since 1997. We were located in the old community hospital building until 2020, and then we're now located in the Baldwin Tower building in Eddystone. So in starting to speak a little bit about the infant mortality rate, one of the reasons why we really wanted to come today is just to share a little bit of information about safe sleep practices. Unfortunately, in the month of May, it was brought to our attention that there was a cluster of infants who died in the city of Chester, and those cases have been attributed or tentatively attributed to babies who were not in a safe sleep environment, meaning that they were in an adult bed, they were maybe with other siblings, and so we wanted to share information with everybody, everywhere that we can, to make sure that everybody is saying to a parent of a new child, to a grandparent of a new child, to a family member of a new child, that it's very, very important for babies to be on their back. So that being said, I'm excited to introduce to you Mia L., who's the education specialist with the foundation and our Cribs for Kids coordinator. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the information that we're hoping everybody can share, but also about the resources available for pregnant families and individuals with new babies in the city.
While Ms. L is coming up, I just want to emphasize the fact that this presentation is a result of, as Ms. Kenyon alluded to, maybe up to 5 deaths since the beginning of the year due to just how the children are sleeping, not in cribs or in safe spaces, but in the same beds as their parents.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning. So my name is Mia L. I am the education specialist for the Foundation for Delaware County, and I'm going to speak to you about safe sleep. So the first thing we always tell our parents, participants, the community, is to remember the ABCs of safe sleep, which are always put the baby alone in the crib, on their back, and in a smoke-free environment. So one of the reasons for the safe sleep training is to bring more awareness to SIDS and SUID. When SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome, SUID is sudden unexpected infant death syndrome. So this can be triggered for any child under the age of 1 year old due to suffocation, trauma, infection, any sort of illness that they have, but also any of those toys or cameras that people put on the crib that can fall off and cause the baby head trauma as well. So causes of sleep-related deaths are suffocation, like I said, when a baby is deprived of air, entrapment, when a baby gets trapped between 2 objects. So it could be the mattress and the wall, the hard base of the couch in a cushion, a pillow, a boppy bowling over. Strangulation can be when something presses or wraps around the baby's neck. I use the pacifier clips, for example, because a lot of people put their babies to sleep with the pacifier clip. That can cause strangulation. So babies have protective airways, as you can see, the trachea, the tube to the lungs, and then the esophagus. So if they're on their back, babies, as soon as they come home, they can move their head left to right if they're on their back and they vomit, right? But if you put them on their stomach and they vomit, they're ingesting and inhaling all of that back into their lungs, and it could cause them to suffocate. Now, this is how a baby should look in the crib, with nothing but the baby. The baby's wearing a sleep sack. The baby is on their back, and this is for every nap, whether you were putting the baby in the crib just so you can get the diaper station ready, the baby should always be put on their back. Grandparents, daycare providers, babysitters, partners, everybody should know at least the ABCs minimum, but I'll show you what I give when you receive the safe sleep training in our safe sleep kits. But always use a sleep sack or a swaddle. So car seats. People tend to leave their kids in the car seats for hours. It's just meant for transport, A to B, that's it. Babies are not supposed to be put in the car seat if they are sick or vomiting. It's not gonna keep them safe at all. Also, if the items did not come in the car seat that you bought, you should not put them in there. because they're not meant to be in there for a reason. Just because stores sell the items do not mean that you have to necessarily buy them and that they're safe. Babies also do not have the correct head control, and they can easily suffocate if you have those little cushions or anything else. Stuffed animals, nothing should be in the car seat, just like the crib. Oh, you can skip that. You can skip it. So never place a pillow in a crib. A pillow, a boppy, nothing should be in the crib. Also, if you are putting a baby on a boppy, there should be someone next to that baby watching them. They should never be left alone. And it also increases the risk of suffocation because the baby could slide down, roll over, suffocate on the pillow. Should also never feed a baby on a boppy alone. Using it for breastfeeding is okay. Temperature check, which is a little difficult right now because it is summertime, but you know, we use air conditioners inside. We don't even allow putting blankets in the three corners of the crib anymore. It's just the baby, a sleep sack or a swaddle, nothing else. So just make sure that the baby is always, you know, warm enough for your climate. So onesie, sleep sack, that's it. No hat, because that'll cause the baby to overheat and suffocate. And these are the 12 steps. So always put the baby on their back. Use a firm, flat surface. Breast milk does help to lower the risk of SIDS and SUID. Share your room, not your bed. Place the baby in a bare crib with nothing except that baby. You can use a pacifier to help reduce the risk of SUID, but use it after 4 to 6 weeks if you're breastfeeding, because that will cause nipple confusion. Avoid smoking, vaping, and any sort of impairment, alcohol, all of that. Avoid overheating, swaddle safely. Keep up with doctor's visits. Research products before you buy. Like I said, everything that's on the market is not safe, so just research it. Practice tummy time only in a safe and clean environment. Surface must be clean with a blanket, and someone must be on the floor with the baby. And spread the safe sleep message. And I do want to add something because it is smoking and it's summertime. If you do know someone that is smoking and they come into the house or they want to hold your baby, make sure they wash their hands, clean their face, take off that outer layer. But if they are a heavy smoker, ask them to get in the shower first, because if they're sweating, that smoke is going to come out of their sweat and the baby's going to be on there, and that's second and third hand smoke. If you have any questions, my information is also in the folders that you guys received. And just going to show you what we give in the Safe Sleep packet. So they do receive the pack and play, a crib sheet. So we do give them a crib sheet, and that's all they need, the crib sheet. But we give them a baby book that talks about safe sleep, that's age appropriate, the door hanger in English and Spanish, and then a little magnet that keeps, a little keepsake. Anybody have any questions? Sir? Yes.
I just have a quick question. So first, again, good morning. I am a newly parent of a 4-month-old son. And some of the things that you were mentioning, are they age specific per baby? Because I know our primary care physician let us know that we should start with his progression and everything, start, taking some naps on his stomach, watch his having a, what's it called? This is like a flathead syndrome, I guess, things
Okay.
like that from laying on their back too much. So that's why I'm asking you as a medical professional. Is it age specific for some of these things, or just if the child is 1 year and below, it all is applicable?
Okay.
In your opinion.
I'm not a medical professional. Just want to put that out there. But I have been in this field for over 25 years. But to answer your question, the recommendation from CDC, AAP is they need to be on their back if they are 1 year old or under. So your child is 4 months old, are you doing tummy time? Because that'll help with the flat head.
Yeah, tummy time three times throughout the day, between
Okay.
3 to 5 minutes at a time.
Okay. I would ask the pediatrician what else you can do, because it's recommended that they sleep on their back until they're 1. So I know old school. You could rub their head and, put a hat on and all that stuff. So I would ask your pediatrician that, or even your grandmom, ways that they got rid of the flat head. But it will go away. It's
Gotcha.
not permanent.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keystone First, about a month ago, there was a nice event for mothers, young mothers, and you did this presentation, and it was very, very helpful. I'm a grandmother, so I was doing things the old school way.
Okay.
So I've learned a lot of new things from your presentation. And so I just want to reiterate, all of you baby boomers out there, grandmoms and what have you, we can't do things the old school way. I think it's better, with this type of presentation that we adapt to new ways of taking care of our infants. So thank you very much.
No
I
problem.
appreciate
Thank
both
you.
of you. We run into each other all the time, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. If you have further questions for the Foundation for Delaware County and this topic on infant mortality, stay in touch. No, we got to keep this moving, but let's get their information. What's that? Okay, we're going to make sure we talk into the mics, everyone.
Oh, sorry.
We have a Q2, that's the second quarter report by Chief of Staff Leonard Leitner. You want to let Colliers go first? Okay. City Engineer report by Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated. Introduce yourselves, and we're looking forward to see what you
Absolutely. Good morning, Mayor, City Council members, Chief Leitner. Thank you for this opportunity to be here today to give you some information on Colliers Engineering, who we are, what we're doing, and some of the services that we provide to you as your engineer of record. My agenda for today is to introduce my colleague Dave in a minute, who's here 3 days a week, talk a little bit about our services, what we do, and then get into some of the projects themselves. So if we could take a look at the next slide. So Colliers Engineering and Design is what we call a multidisciplined engineering firm. We have engineers on staff, planners, we have architects on staff, and we like to share all the services that we offer because we are full service. Pretty much anything you would need from an architectural or engineering standpoint, we have in-house. We are over 75 offices nationwide. We have a number of offices, as you can see, in the state of Pennsylvania, in close proximity. We've been in business for over 40 years. With the amount of people that we have on staff in offices, what you should know is, again, us being full service, that even when things come up that maybe we didn't anticipate, you didn't anticipate, we usually have people on the team that can help out and get the job done. So right now, I just want to introduce briefly Dave, say a couple words about himself, and then I'll get back into it.
How you doing? Dave Schwartz. I think I've spoken with most of you at some point or another. I'm the on-site engineer. As Anthony mentioned, I am here.
You got to get your mouth right into that microphone.
Oh my God. Okay, there we go. A little better. Sorry, normally I talk loud. The fan back there is drowning me out a bit. But I'm here 3 days a week, at least 3 days a week. Lately, it's been a bit more than that because there's a lot going on in the city. I'm a licensed engineer in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm also a certified planner, so I kind of bring a little bit of expertise from both of those areas into the city. And I'm talking a little bit about some of the projects that we have been working on for the city lately over the past 4 months now. But until then, I'll let Anthony kind of hit some of what we do as a firm in a bit more detail.
Thanks, Dave. So what we call our core disciplines are divided into the items that you see up there. Site civil engineering, this has to do, for instance, if we're working on a building and we need to do site designs, to deal with drainage, deal with circulation on the site, things of that nature. So we have that service in-house. Transportation, Dave is actually a transportation engineer. When we're looking at permits through the DOT, when we need to do signalization designs or review signalization designs, we have all that in-house as well. Governmental services is the group that I actually fall under, and Dave as well. We do what we call municipal engineering. We serve a lot of towns throughout the state of Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, in New York, et cetera. And we basically, again, serve as the liaison between the city, their projects, and working to get them done, and using all the services that I'm talking about here to bring in. Under governmental services, also, you hear me talk about GIS, Geographical Informational Systems. We have a group in-house that does that can help out the city and others as they need that. Survey and geospatial, whenever you start out a project, you need to create what's called a base plan. We have services inside the company that includes licensed surveyors in the state of Pennsylvania. Infrastructure, we do structural engineering. We design a building, we design an underground structure. We have people on it in staff that can take care of that design as well. Geotechnical, if we're doing borings and things like that for buildings, you need to build a foundation. It has to be on strong ground. We take care of that as well. Project management, when projects get out into construction, we have both the inspectors in-house. We have also the managers, construction managers, who know how to manage buildings, know how to manage contractors, to make sure that the specifications that are put together are followed by the contractor. And in architecture, the last one that I'll mention, we have a group of architects right in the city of Philadelphia in our office there. We have them out of New York as well. And we have a lot of expertise in things such as municipal buildings, public works facilities, et cetera. So we'll employ their help as that goes. So as we get into the next slide, today we're going to talk about the 4 types of projects that we're engaged in here in the city of Chester. The ARPA projects, which has to do with federal funding that's come through the ARPA program. Capital projects, there's a capital budget that's typically put together by city council, et cetera, to do things such as park improvements, roadways improvements, and things like that. So we'll talk about them. Development reviews, when developers look to come into the city to do work, we have a group of people that review those plans to make sure that they are in conformance with all the requirements, regulations from state, local authorities, et cetera. So we'll take care of that and make sure that we follow a process which is set out by those entities to make sure that things are done properly and to make sure that all of the requirements that are set out and agreed to are followed through by the developers. And then there's miscellaneous, which we'll get into, which has to do with stormwater, GIS, and then also grants funding. I failed to mention that we do have in-house grants people that help us out, and they're aware of federal grants that are available, state grants, local grants, et cetera. So we bring that to the table as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Dave. He's going to talk in a little bit more detail about some of the key projects, ARPA, capital-wise, et cetera.
Got a lot going on in the city, so I'll try to be, so I won't detail all these projects. I'll try to be fairly brief, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about them. So first, I want to go over the ARPA projects. As Anthony mentioned, that is federal funding. We are diligently working to get those out by the end of the year. That's when the funding has to be allocated for those projects. We had a reprioritization meeting just the other day. Department heads met and kind of prioritized which ARPA projects we'll be pursuing and which ones, will, and the kind of rank, if you will, of how we're doing that. One of the highest priority is the Public Works building. We have recently completed a land swap with Delcora to give them our Public Works site in exchange for a site on West 2nd Street between Pennell and Lloyd Street. So that is going to be a priority because Public Works obviously needs a home. So we're going to get that design, the site prepped, and the building design by the end of the year. The other priority improvement is City Hall Phase 1. That is going to be the reorganizing the window services downstairs and reorienting the entrance, moving this chamber downstairs as well. So we're going to be getting that done, working with another firm who has already designed that. We're just doing peer review, and eventually we'll be administering the construction when that starts. There's some parks improvements as well. What we're doing there exactly is still a bit up in the air. We're nailing that down now, but one thing that we do anticipate doing is Sun Village, the pavilion, the structure out there is used for boating and as bathrooms near the splash pad. That's being done as part of ARPA. We're also looking at site improvements there as part of a different grant effort. So we're trying to weave as many things together as we can so we can really have impact on some of these locations. The last two, Fire Station 81 and City Hall Phase 2. Fire Station 81, we are getting that ready for an RFP. We might not fit that under ARPA projects for this year. I left it on here because it was identified as an ARPA project. We've spoken with the fire commissioner. He's indicated they have roof over their heads, and they're fairly content right now. So that one might be put off a little bit longer, but that one is one that we are going to get ready to be put out as soon as we have one available. And City Hall Phase 2 expansion and police relocation. That's a big one. That's one that we actually spent a lot of time on this year. That one is probably going to be put somewhat on ice. We still have all the work that we've done, and we're going to be looking for additional funds to complete that. That would be a big project. We want to make sure that we spend the time and do it right. So you can go on with the next slide. So don't panic. I'm not going to read through all these. I'll just highlight a couple of them. These are some of the capital projects that we've been working on. Some we've led, some we have been just advising other groups or other departments on doing. A couple of the examples here, I put up. One of them is finishing up the 2023 road program. We had one outstanding item on there, Melrose Avenue. Off to the left there, you can see the before and after that has now been completed. 2023 is in the books. 2024 will be starting up very, very soon. Another project that we did actually in association with PennDOT is Edgemont Avenue. If you've been up on that road lately, just south of 95, that was formerly, see the photos there, right below Melrose. Before it was a 4-lane road, very fast, very high vehicle speeds, and really did not need all those lanes. So we worked with PennDOT after they did the milling.
Get the chiefs.
Okay, we're back. Anyway, for like I said, for Edgemont Avenue, that was a roadway. We worked with PennDOT and got that actually restriped. It's called a road dye. It removes one of the lanes, makes it a 1-lane road in each direction, adds turning lanes, and it gives us more room in the future to potentially add in more pedestrian space. I mentioned I'm a planner as well here. We like seeing all of that. Could be the beginnings of a gateway, which we will be looking at as we move forward in other grants. A couple other projects that we've done. PennDOT is redoing 95 through this area. That's going to be a very, very big deal, and I think that we represent Chester there to try to get things forward. But, sorry, this keeps going out. Been with a couple of meetings with Mayor Roots, Councilwoman West. You've been there as well. We've had a couple of those. Continue doing that. We're looking at work in Chester Park, the garage, and the barn and the garage. Some work on the East Coast sections of that along West 2nd Street, Norris, and Highland. And the Lloyd Street Bridge, I know that's important to a lot of people. We're moving that program along. And some other odds and ends here and there. A lot of it is just providing advice. And go on, and I think Anthony will go over some of our development reviews. As he mentioned, we are providing engineering support for these development reviews to provide comments so that you get what the developers are promising.
Again, a list of the projects that we're working on currently. You can see the soccer stadium. We're finishing up the second phase of that as far as the design review and making sure that all the proper documents have been filed with the proper authorities, et cetera, with that. Our methodology here is very succinct as far as the process that we're working through here to make sure that we're taking the time to review the plans, whether it be traffic, site, et cetera. Try not to move. There we go. I'm going to speak very loudly. Can you guys hear me okay? Just in case this doesn't work. So we're making sure that we're going through the process, making sure that the documents get filed, all of these applications, and then also working with your in-house staff to make sure that your staff is in tune with the processes and that they're playing a part that they need to in getting it done. I'll try again. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. Miscellaneous projects that we're working on. I had mentioned GIS and asset management. Geographical Information Systems is the acronym that's GIS, and really what you're doing is you're marrying maps with what we call assets. If it's a water system, things like, you know, a fire hydrant or a valve or something like that, or stormwater or, you know, road furniture, et cetera, with a database that gives you information on that. So what we've been doing, one of the projects you could see we're working on is the zoning map that we're putting together in a GIS basis on a GIS platform for the city. So we're working through that. We're also working on the FEMA map as it relates to the overlay on top of the zoning map and other items as it relates to that, as well as traffic signs and things like that and signals. So we'll all have that information in a computer platform so that it can be accessed by people in the city. And in some cases it's actually opened up to the public to be able to find certain pieces of information themselves as well. Grants, I had mentioned earlier, grants. There's a very large EPA grant that's out there right now for sustainability and efficiency. We're working with the city to come up with means that we could spend as much of that money as the government is willing to give us so that we can make some improvements to the city overall. MS4 is the municipal stormwater system. You do have a separate entity here in the city that takes care of stormwater, but there is a component that as the city engineer we're responsible for too, having to do with as it goes to development reviews and making sure that they meet the requirements that are out there for MS4 and then filing them properly as well. So that's the last of the miscellaneous items that we have there. Are there any questions, Mayor, Council? Anything we could answer for you?
Doesn't look like it. Thank you so much for the presentation. We're so happy you're here with engineering firm, like you said in one of your earlier slides, with all the tools in the toolbox. You guys have hit the ground running. You're handling a lot. You're juggling a lot of balls, but we're getting a lot accomplished. So thank you. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
291. What stretch of 291 will PennDOT be? I'm sorry, what stretch of 291 will PennDOT be handling, you know, in terms of repairs or whatever the work is?
So there are a few projects right now going on 291. Are you referring to the design project currently underway?
No, I'm talking about what, you know, what area.
Yeah, no, there are a few areas. So this is working, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few areas right now that are being studied. One of them is near the soccer stadium. That is for the between Highland and Norris. That's for the East Coast Greenway. Okay. I think the portion that you're talking about is north of there.
Mm-hmm.
That is currently under design. That is from just past the soccer stadium all the way through the rest of the city. There is talk about reducing some lanes there, having a lot of safety improvements going in. That's a stretch that's currently being designed. There was a grant given, I believe, Reconnecting Communities grant for $2.5 million that's designing that. We're not involved in the design. Once the design starts to come together, we'll be reviewing it, obviously, I would think. And then that will be placed eventually on PennDOT's plan. I don't have a timeline for you, unfortunately. It's something that has to be kind of worked out.
I'm concerned about residents, and we have churches along, you know, 291 too. So, you know, maybe you and I can talk further about that. You know, I just want to see what the impact will be for residents and the churches along 291.
And I can get, sorry, I'll talk loud too. I can get you the study that was done that kind of details those improvements or outlines those improvements.
Okay.
They won't be design plans, but they will get you a good idea of kind of what's going on overall.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll make their phone numbers available for you to reach them. We just want to keep this meeting moving. Thank you so much. Next, we have our second quarter report by Chief of Staff Leonard Leitner.
So, Mayor, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to yield this. I will post the Q2 report online. There's quite a bit to go over, and instead of trying to rush through it, I sent you guys all a copy of it. There was an add-on this morning to the ARPA projects, so I added that on this morning. So I included that in the report I emailed to you all this morning. But what I will do for the public is post this online. That way you can see the Q2 report online. But I would say in the amount of time that we have, that it wouldn't be justice to try to rush through this, if you don't mind.
All right, thank you. But we're not going to not do what we were planning to do after you gave your report, so I need you to step right here, please. As some of you may know, this would have been his last presentation, but it will be available online. We're sad to see that our Chief of Staff, Mr. Leonard Leitner, will be moving on to another opportunity, but he won't be too far away. The phone call will still not be long distance. We're looking forward to staying in touch with you. I just want to say, as mayor of the city of Chester, I really appreciate the time that you've spent here. You are certainly a fixer. You came in here and you've really just turned this city on its head as to how we are operating on a daily basis. That's your strength. That's what you kept claiming to be your strength, operations, and you came in here undaunted, not scared, just kind of rolled in here, and with definitely that 15 years of experience up in Allentown, working for 7 mayors, you can't discount the experience of dealing with many of the things in Allentown that we're facing here for the first time. We absolutely appreciate the time that you've spent here. Truly a professional. I'm going to tell you in no uncertain terms, I don't know anyone who works as hard as this man does. He got mad at me, I think on the 2nd or 3rd day on the job, that I arrived in City Hall before he did. You know, he's like, I've never come after my boss. But we just wanted to, myself, council, and all the rest of us, I'll just read it out loud. In deep gratitude to Leonard Leitner for his dedicated service to the city of Chester as our Chief of Staff, it's from myself, the mayor, all of council, every one of the employees in here who you've touched, and the residents of the city of Chester, July 24th, 2024.
I'm not a person that really likes public attention, but I would say with a heavy heart and a sadness that I leave. It wasn't an easy decision. For Chester, I was told when I got here that you got to get used to Chester, and Chester people are different. I would say to you that it was in this last year that I started to feel embraced and welcomed by Chester residents. As I said, I'm a little at a loss of words. Like I said, it was not an easy decision. I really did enjoy, and I do enjoy the staff. Really got to love them, work with them, and really started to embrace and really work with the staff. We've started to build a new team, and the team that is really looking at getting the job done. I've seen people rise up through the ranks. I see G. Kwan and Sean right there, who these guys really stepped up and shown that there's good people in Chester, and there's good employees here that really want to rise to the occasion and do a good job. And we owe it to them as leaders, and I'm looking at council. We owe it to them as leaders and as constituents and as residents to really train them and give them the resources and opportunity to be successful. That's what this is all about, is you have good people here. And if we just give them the training, the resources to be successful, they will run your city well. So it's with a sadness that I leave, but I do appreciate this, and I look forward to still, you guys, I will have my cell phone number. You guys all have my cell phone numbers. Still keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done for the city. A lot of progress has been made under your leadership, and I just want to thank you. And I know we've had many conversations, and I am happy with the progress that the city has made. It is my hope that we continue on with that process. With all these changes, there's been a lot of change and a lot of overturn in the city. So I hope that the progress that has been started will continue. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. And I just want to say thank you for always respecting council and our opinions and our decisions, and working with us a lot of times. So I just thank you, and best of luck with your new journey.
Yeah, Chief Leitner, I'm going to take this time to say at the same time, congratulations on your new opportunity. I know you're going to exceed, thrive, excel. I want to say thank you for all the hard work that you have done for the people of the city of Chester, our community, City Hall. Your work has not gone unnoticed. Again, I sympathize with Councilman Green. You and I have had many conversations that I want to thank you for from the bottom of my heart as a young African-American man trying to succeed and do for my community. Your leadership and guidance is appreciated. I definitely second, again, what Councilman Green said, your respect for the council members here, our opinions, keeping us involved in some of the decisions and keeping us informed. So, again, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and thank you.
Chief Leitner, I want to thank you for your service. I know. You're going to miss me most of all. But I really appreciate your leadership and what you've shown us, the project management style of operation. It's been a learning experience for all of us. But I thank you for the information and for the open door that you've always had, and good luck to you in your new endeavor.
And really quickly, in his place, the receiver has appointed our interim chief of staff. If our fire commissioner would stand, John Paul Shirley will be our interim chief of staff.
All right, very good. We're going to miss you, Guy. We absolutely are. That means everybody on that wall there and back there and up here, we're all going to have to step up. This guy, I don't know anybody who works harder, so let's get ready to put the work in. The search for his replacement has already begun, so stay tuned there. This is the point where we speak old business. All I want to do is just point you guys to this sheet, this full color, multi-page this time, events, sort of brochure, I guess we can call it now. Everything from updates to our Safe Summer site, the pool operations, what's going on down there, and how you can continue to enjoy. We're looking to hire police officers. There's summer food programs, oldies in, at the Waters Park, summer camps, justice celebrations, and so on. So please get a hold of this.
Also announced that we did meet an executive session twice last week with our solicitor to go over our new ethics policy. And so a lot of movement has been going on with the policy, and I'm confident that we will pass a policy. I believe all of council is in agreement with this new policy that was develop, and so one should be passed, but I did have to announce that we met in the executive session twice last week.
Any other business from council? If not, we'll slide right into our clerk duties.
Resolution. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Whereas the City of Chester Police Department is experiencing a critical staff shortage. And whereas the County of Delaware, known as the county, desires to assist the police department to supplement its staff during the summer months. And whereas the county has been awarded grant funds from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, known as PCCD, in an amount not to exceed $200,000, subject to the approval of the PCCD. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby ratify approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, known as the MOU, between the City of Chester Police Department and the County of Delaware for the deployment of county law enforcement and/or emergency services personnel beginning July 15, 2024 until September 9, 2024. Further, it does authorize the mayor to sign the MOU for and on behalf of the City of Chester Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? I'll just make the real quick comment that this is an effort where we're working with the County of Delaware. They've provided us with some personnel in order to help us get more officers on the street. So really appreciate the county for stepping in. Did you have a comment? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby approve the electricity supply agreement with Constellation New Energy Incorporated for the purchase and supply of electricity at the fixed rate contract price of .05986 per kilowatt hour beginning December 1st, 2024, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in said agreement. Further, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the necessary documents for and on behalf of the City of Chester. Further, said agreement is contingent upon final review and approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the following individuals have requested a handicap parking zone. Number 1, Taria Williams, 1831 West 6th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. And number 2, Victoria E. Legay, 114 West 7th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Whereas, after a thorough investigation by the Department of Public Works, it has been determined the aforementioned individuals have met all of the required criteria and have a need for said handicap parking zone. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city officials to install a handicap parking zone in the 1800 block of West 6th Street and in the 100 block of West 7th Street in the City of Chester.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Root.
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the Solicitor's Office to prepare a notice of intent to terminate the lease agreement with United Road Services Incorporated for the property located at 1001 West 2nd Street, Chester, PA, 19013.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, be it resolved that the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, hereby requests a multimodal transportation fund grant of $2,500,000 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for the Overtown Streetscape Improvement Project. Be it further resolved that the City of Chester does hereby designate Stefan Roots, Mayor, and Candace Newsom, City Clerk, as the officials to execute all documents and agreements between the City of Chester and the Commonwealth Financing Authority to facilitate and assist in obtaining the requested grant. That's just to go along with
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the City of Chester, known as the applicant, desires to undertake the project Sun Village Park Playground, known as Project Title, and whereas the applicant desires to receive from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, known as the Department, a grant for the purpose of carrying out this project. And whereas the application package includes a document entitled Terms and Conditions of Grant. And whereas the applicant understands that the contents of the document entitled Terms and Conditions of Grant, including appendices referred to therein, will become the terms and condition of a grant agreement between the applicant and the department if the applicant is awarded a grant. And now therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve. Number one, the grant application may be electronically signed on behalf of the applicant by Stefan Roots, who, at the time of signing, has a title of mayor and the email address of sroots@chestercity.com. Number two, if this official signed the grant application electronic authorization prior to the passage of this resolution, this grant of authority applies retroactively to the date of signing. Number three, if the City of Chester is awarded a grant, the grant application electronic authorization signed by the above official will become the City of Chester and/or Department's executed signature page for the grant agreement, and the City of Chester and/or Department will be bound by the grant agreement. And number four, any amendment to the grant agreement may be signed on behalf of the Department by the official who, at the time of signing of the amendment, has the title specified in paragraph 1, and the department will be bound by the amendment.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilor Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city official to submit a grant application to the Environmental Protection Agency through the Community Change Grants Program for Inflation Reduction Act funds in an amount not to exceed $20 million to be used for pollution reduction and greenhouse gas emission reduction infrastructure projects across the city in collaboration with local organizations. Further, it does hereby authorize the mayor to sign for and on behalf of the City of Chester.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. And we have a few ordinances for introduction.
So, this is pulled, this is out.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's off.
Is it table or has just been pulled?
Been pulled.
Ordinances for introduction. The first one is, wait a minute, is this the, yeah, I'm sorry. An ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending ordinance number 16 of 2023, providing for new allocations for expenditures of various city departments for specific sums estimated to be required for the specific purposes of the municipal government without changing the total amount of revenues and expenditures set forth in ordinance number 16 of 2023 for use during the 2024 calendar year.
So I have a question. Am I just moving this to be read on August? I'm moving it forward, and there's no number here.
There are bills for introduction. They're either going to be voted on or you vote to have it moved to a committee. If I'm correct, Mr. Solicitor?
I think it could be voted on correctly. This is,
But there's no bill number. There's a number at the top for me to even move it forward. What am I referencing?
So we didn't number them because we wasn't sure if it was going to go through as being a vote on or going to the committee. Either or way is going to come back, end up on the agenda with an assigned number.
there's going to be 2 readings of this particular ordinance. By the final reading, we will have the bill number, so you can proceed with a vote today if you care to.
Okay, but what is the reference? What am I going to call?
So, Mr. Solicitor, if I'm hearing you correct, this is the actual first reading, or, okay, so we did not assign it a number because it said for introduction. If I'm not mistaken, in the past, when we were doing these ordinances for introduction, they were assigned numbers and they didn't go any further. So the numbering had stopped. So we were trying to get clarity of now when we're doing these ordinances for introduction, are we assigning them numbers or not? My assumption was that I'm reading just the voted part, and that was either for you all to vote on it, to move it to the next council meeting, or it's supposed to go to the committee. I'm just going by what I'm trying to understand, so Mr. Solicitor or Chief of Staff can take over.
I think we should be voting on this to be introduced, and then we have its first reading at the next council meeting.
But what I'm saying is, what do I call this?
So the first,
What do I call it?
I would say maybe the first ordinance that was read for introduction.
So I'm going to move that we send bill ordinance number 16. That's what's referenced in the body.
No, so we're not that far in our numbers. My suggestion would be that you're moving the first ordinance of introduction to be read at the next council meeting.
The introduction of what?
That's fine.
Just the first ordinance introduction.
What? Yeah, what do I call it?
It's a budget.
Introduction of an ordinance for the 2024 budget amendment.
It's a budget amendment.
Okay. I move that we pass this bill, which is an ordinance amendment, forward for a first reading on August 14th, 2024. Is that good, Mr. Solicitor? Because you have to call it something.
That's a fine motion.
We're just amending the original budget, so whatever that
So the next one will be.
resolution was.
So
Right.
we are amending the original budget. Where are the amendments? The amendments are not attached.
Well, that's why it's going to be, it's an introduction. You should have had it in your, you don't have it in your packet. That's why we're not going to vote on it today. Just move it forward, and you'll have that this evening for the next council, so you can review the budget amendment.
So we're going to vote on an introduction of
To introduce it
to
at the,
introduce an amended budget,
at the next
but
council
we don't
meeting.
have the information that's going to be amended in the budget.
You should have had it.
Well, then,
You should have had it. That's why you don't vote on, you're not voting on approving it. You're just voting on to move it to council at the next meeting.
What I said.
I have the fire. I don't see anything about the amendments, the finances.
That's why it's under introduction. We're just introducing, we're letting you know we're going to introduce this. You should have had something in there, but I'm not sure why it didn't get there.
So what's going to happen, Councilman? I don't know where the budget is either. My assumption is you all will get the budget, and then when we move it, it won't really be read until August. I didn't even know the date was on here.
Can we get a second to move this?
Before we move this, have you guys identified the items or whatever monies you guys are relocating in the budget?
Yeah, there are certain title changes, I understand it, in the budget.
So we're doing a budget amendment. It's more so salary amendments, salary title changes. It's an update to that. So we're not changing revenues, as she read, we're not changing revenues or expenses. We're simply amending some of the titles that have changed in the budget. As you know, we've gotten new staffing. We moved some people. So we're trying to make the budget reflect the new changes. I do have that memorandum. I will make sure you all have that in your emails this evening. But this was more so just the introduction to move it, make you aware of it, that we're going to be asking you to move this to council for its first reading at the next council meeting.
But before, on August the 14th, before that time, we should have the attachments. Remember, I asked for a meeting that you all go over this with us. I know, just sit down with all of us.
Right.
Specifically go over all the item changes.
That's why the first reading will be at the next council meeting. This
Right.
is just,
But before then,
yes, you will.
before then, we have a need to know
Yes.
what the changes are going to be.
So again, what we're doing is some of the votes that have happened, we're just making sure that it reflects in the salary ordinance correctly. So, Mr. Troutman will be working with Joan to set up that meeting so that we can have that executive session meeting to go over that with you all, or what the changes look like. But in the meantime, I still want to get it to you in advance so you can look at it
So we can look
and have
at
your questions, but they will go over that with you.
Right.
So again, only thing this is just saying we're introducing that we're giving you a heads up that we want to do a budget amendment to correct the salaries and stuff,
So
but the first reading won't be until the next council meeting.
and we're introducing it
Yes,
with the knowing that that before it comes for a first reading before us.
Correct.
That we will have seen all of the attachments beforehand.
correct.
Okay.
You will.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't feel comfortable moving something that I have not read, that I have not seen the amendments
I will
to.
second the motion to move this budget adjustment forward. Madam Clerk?
Are you seconding it, Mayor? Because it sounds like Councilwoman West did the first.
I am seconding, yes.
Thank you. Councilors Green,
No.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Ordinance introduction, which is the second one, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, repealing Article 1545 entitled Fire Control Measures in its entirety and enacting new Article 1545 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, Pennsylvania, 1978, as supplemented and amended, entitled Sale of Defective Fire Extinguishers Prohibited, to ensure that any fire extinguishers sold, traded, loaned, or given away is in proper working order, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
So I move that we send over this bill regarding the sale of defective fire extinguishers. We're moving it over to the next meeting of 8/14. But any documentations that we need, Commissioner Shirley, whatever we need to go along with this, we would like to have that before the 14th of August also. Okay.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman. The fire extinguisher is just one portion. I think it would be titled Fire Control Measures Ordinance.
That sounds good.
Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman. So we're going to forward this bill that's regarding fire control measures over. We're going to forward it over for the first reading on August the 14th.
I second.
I move that we do that.
I second that we move the fire control measures to the first reading.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Root.
Yes.
Last and final bill for ordinance introduction. An ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, repealing Article 1551, entitled Licensing Fire Protection Equipment Installers and Contractors, in its entirety, and enacting new Article 1551 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, Pennsylvania, 1978, as supplemented and amended, entitled Fire Protection Equipment Contractor Licensing Requirement, to ensure any contractor that designs, installs, modifies, performs maintenance on, inspects, tests, or in any other way services fire protection equipment within city limits meets a minimum certification requirement for licensing, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I'm assuming this is regarding fire protection equipment.
That's correct, Councilwoman.
Okay. I move that we pass this bill regarding fire protection equipment over to for first reading on August 14th, 2024.
I second that we reappeal Article 1551 entitled Licensing Fire Protection Equipment Installers and Contractors.
That's not what I said. I said something different.
I know that's what it is
Okay,
listed.
then. Let me do it again then, so you and I will be saying the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. I move that we pass this bill over regarding licensing, fire protection equipment, installation, and contractors, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Over for the August 14th, 2024 reading. Thank you, Councilman.
I second that we move with the motion to reappeal Article 1551 entitled Licensing and Fire Protection Equipment Installers and Contractors.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll hear brief reports from our committee chairs. We'll start with Budget and Finance Committee Chair Davis.
So good morning again, everyone. The committee met on this Monday, July 22nd. Some things that we were scheduled to meet on with regards to the fee schedule ordinances for the City of Chester. For every department, We chose to table that conversation to have a broader conversation about all the funds going on, the accounts, and the specifics of those accounts. So those are the conversations that we had. And to be specific, we went over the 3 major accounts that the City of Chester currently holds: our operating fund, our specialty account, and our fiduciary account. We went over some of the staffing vacancies we have, some of the injuries we have going on in City Hall, employees who are out on workers' comp, different things like that that are getting paid out through the City of Chester. As Chief Leitner mentioned, our revenues and our expenses. Something that I wanted to make clear, that the reason why I wanted to vote on the ordinance a few minutes ago in regards to the budget, because some titles as well as some people's salaries have drastically changed in City Hall, and we would not be able to receive that information if we did not pass the ordinance forward to actually have its first reading and then receive the information from our Chief Financial Officer and our Chief of Staff. So that is one thing that I wanted to do. I've had conversations with people in the Finance Department. I have seen some of those numbers, and I would like our other members of council to see those numbers as well, so that you all understand what's going on, who's being changed and who's being moved around, and what they're getting paid and why. So that's one reason why I did vote yes on that, because we need to understand what's going on. I have had conversations with people in the Accounts and Finance Department, and I think the members of council need to see that information as well. So those are the main things that we covered. A lot of the big picture finances and funds that are going on in the City of Chester. Like I said, we did decide to table the fee ordinance schedule because it was to my understanding that we are all going to go over that information in its entirety as a mayor and council. So that way no one's left out, no one has to come to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting or anything like that. We're going to go over all the fees for every department throughout the City of Chester in its entirety as colleagues at one time. And that's something that I agreed upon, because I don't think that anyone should be excluded from that conversation. So the fees have been tabled. However, the major funds for the City of Chester are what we discussed. Does anybody have any questions, you can happily see me after council, and I'll go over those exact numbers with you in regards to our general funds for the City of Chester, how much money we have in our ARPA bank account, that's a separate bank account, our fiduciary account, which holds our pension, our fire, escrow, things like that. So I'm happy to sit down with individuals and go over that information. And more specifically, however, those are the conversations that we had on this Monday for the Accounts and Finance and the Budget Committee. So thank you.
Let's get through this. Thank you, Councilman Davis. I'm going to put you on the spot again in the absence of Council Lady Gibson Williams. Could you report on the Community and Economic Development Committee?
The Community and Economic Development Committee has not met, and there are no future meetings scheduled at this current time.
Thank you. Human Resources, Administrative, and Appointment Committees, chaired by myself, we haven't met, and there's no future meetings scheduled. Councilman Green, Parks and Rec.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, and there are currently no future meetings scheduled at this time.
And with Public Safety, that's myself again. We haven't met since the last council meeting. There's no future meetings scheduled, but there's going to be a lot of future meetings scheduled. Public Works Committee, Chair West.
Public Works Committee has not met since the last meeting, but I have been meeting with the Director of Public Works, Andrew Heyman, and at a later point, we'll talk about, well, the fees are going to be presented. The changes in our fee schedules for Public Works will be presented at the Council and Finance or Budget and Finance meeting, since we're all doing it together. And then there are other items of importance that Andrew and I have talked about pertaining to Public Works. So we'll discuss that at a later point in time. Well, not right now, but I'll bring you up in a minute.
Come on up. Yeah. No, I didn't. But while he's coming up, I'll just report on the last committee, Rules Chambers, Intergovernmental Relations and Strategy Committee. That's chaired by myself. We haven't met, and there's no future meetings. The floor is yours. Director of Public Works, Andrew Heyman.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Councilwoman West, for having me here today.
Now talk loud.
Forgive me, I'm naturally too soft-spoken. So we, like Councilwoman West said, we met on Friday and discussed some of the updates, the things that I'm working on or that we're working on in the Public Works Department. A number of different projects we have going on. Some of them are pie in the sky. Obviously, there are some limitations with funding, but the projects that we're moving towards, some of them are projects, many of them are projects that predate my employment here in the city of Chester. Start out with, obviously we had discussed some of those fees, just the justification, explaining increases, or in some cases decreases where we think we can change things to make sure that the city is being adequately compensated for work that's being done by city employees. The roads program, just still very rough outline, talking about using the GIS system or the survey that we've done of our roads to identify the roads that are most in need and sort of where that funding is going to come from. And we're working with our engineering firm who presented earlier, discussed a few of these projects as well. The Public Works Yard, that is the #1 project right now that our department needs. We discussed that. The current facility is certainly not, to put it lightly, adequate for the purposes that we need, but it is also, not, I would argue, not sanitary. It needs to be cleaned up, and so a new facility will be fantastic. Spoke about what the department would need, which is a large garage structure for vehicles. It can be climate controlled, along with office space, workspace, salt shed. Again, we're working on the details of the final design with our engineering firm, so I'm not an architect. But street sign installation, it's a project that predates my employment as well. This is the installation of street signs purchased with American Rescue Plan funds. We've got a couple hiccups, but I think that project is moving forward, and I'm very excited about that as well. And then lastly, combating this illegal dumping in the city of Chester, which is awful. All of you know about it, and you know a lot more than I do about it, but partnering with Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful to get some cameras, hopefully put some of these criminals that are dumping on city streets in jail, if we're lucky. So couple items that the department could use that we discussed, and again, I have a sort of tentative plan, but we've got to make the funding work for it. Bucket truck, wood chipper, having tools like that in our tool shed, so to speak, would really increase the quality of the work that we can provide to residents and decrease costs simultaneously, I believe, over the long term. Number of other items that we're working on, obtaining some radar signs, speed limit signage. Again, there's got to be a plan in place, and we're working on that, and a number of other smaller matters. But just want to say thank you to my staff for everything that they've been doing, putting up with me the last month. Today's my 1-month anniversary here in the city of Chester, so thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the update. We want people to know that we are working.
Yes, we absolutely are.
And we have the city's heart, or the city in our hearts and minds, and we want to do what's right. And thank you to Mr. Mark Alexander, too, for all of the information that you've shared with the new Public Works Director. It's a team effort, and we all work together.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. I can go now? Okay. Thank you.
Have we introduced Mrs. Hall yet? Miss Hall? We haven't? Well, here's your moment. Miss Camille Hall is our new, come on, Chief, give me the right title. I don't want to flub this one.
Director of Community and Economic Development.
Thank you. Say hello.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First, I would like to say is I'm happy to be back home. And so I thank Chief Leitner for bringing me back home. I was born in Philadelphia, unfortunately, but I was raised since a baby in Chester. I went through the school systems in Chester. And what I would say is You know, although we are raised here and we go off to school and we take our talents outside of Chester, we never lose sight of home. And so I'm very happy to be back home. And to just give you a brief background of what I did. 30 years working for the city of Philadelphia, 20 years at the Housing Authority, another 7 years at the school district. All of my experience was in planning, development, and the position that I am now with community and economic development, license and inspections, and zoning. So again, you know, you come back to Chester, you never lose sight of Chester. I'm always here, you know, looking at how our city is progressing or not progressing. And so I'm so happy to be a part of bringing that progression back to the city of Chester, because I believe that's what we need to do to bring Chester, you know, up to where all the other cities are. So I want to be a part of that, and I'm excited. So thank you, everyone.
Did I miss anybody? Is there anybody else that we haven't introduced yet?
Unless we want to reintroduce Mark.
Mark, you want to be reintroduced?
Just playing. No, we got everybody.
All right, great. All right, it is public comment time. We've got 3 people who have signed up. I think the first one just says green. I think. Who signed the sheet first? Is it Mr. Salim? Oh, well, come on, please. You have 3 minutes, and it's public comment only. It's not a question and answer period.
Yes, sir, absolutely. My name is Amin Abdul Salim. I live 240 Patterson Street. I stuck my hand up because when I came up here, there was no one else had signed the sheet here, the legislature, so maybe I am the first one. And I'd like to make brief comments to you, inshallah, God's willing. You know, there's quite a bit I want to say, but this is for the future. This that we're going through now is going to thin out because God is going to thin it out. So inshallah, God's willing, Prophet Muhammad said, I come to make, if you will, sir, and counsel and all, you know, make life simple again. And we hear Trump, the former President Trump said, we're going to make America great again. So this easy that we're going to do is going to eliminate or eradicate a lot of this strenuous, mind-wrecking stuff that we are in. Is going to be simple and plain. So this is where we're going, inshallah. This is where, mashallah, this is God's will. I see our mayor back here, our former mayor. I'm glad to see him back here today. Inshallah, God's willing, sir. I wanted to just acknowledge, you know. But yes, there's quite a bit this is the only thing that can survive this that we are going through. The only thing that's going to survive this is that this is what we are entering into now. This is the only thing that's going to survive this. Many have many thoughts and all, but this that we have to come on, embark upon, is the only thing that can survive this. Only thing. They say that we're going to rebuild and so on, sir. And I'm sorry for rushing through. I have quite a bit that, inshallah. So it is said that those who seek to re-establish or rebuild that which is torn down, you cannot tear down that which is already, you cannot rebuild that which is already torn down. A town that is torn down cannot be rebuilt. But all of us do not know that. There's some with the idea that we're going to rebuild. And we're going to, and they also think in terms of we're going to rebuild better. That's not going to happen, inshallah. So what's going to happen there is that they're going to rebuild. We're going to go out. We're going to make things simple. We're going to leave. And the people are going to come out. This is the day that they come out. They come out. They're going to be coming out to the extent that those who are dedicated or stuck on the idea going to rebuild, that it said that their rib cage will be pressed together.
10 seconds, Mr. Salim.
Their rib cage will be pressed together by the people coming out. So you are coming out to the better or the making the life easier here without all this complexity stuff, inshallah. So, sir, alhamdulillah, I pray, sir, that we be okay with that, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend Thaddeus Kirkland.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm here representing the Community Baptist Church where I pastor. I heard the comments by Councilman Davis concerning salaries and finances and budget, and I wanted to follow up on that because I have some concerns, and I know that we always talk about transparency. So I just want us to be transparent. So number one, it's a question and a series of questions, and I hope that they can be answered at a later date. Number one, how much of the American Rescue Plan, the ARPA money, has gone to pay for consultants hired by the receiver and or the city? I think that's something that the community needs to know. If we're paying consultants and we're using ARPA money, federal money, how much is that used to pay for those consultants? Number two, is any of the rescue plan money being used for the salaries of members of the receiver's team? I know that they're being paid by the state, but are we using some of that ARPA money, that federal money that's supposed to come to this city to pay for their salaries? And number three, does anyone know the salaries of the receiver and Mr. Kapoor? And could you convey that to the rest of the citizenry? Simply because we know your salaries, we know staff salaries, we know chief of staff salary, but we don't know what we're paying to those persons who have come into our community that are now placed us under receivership. And finally, what are the financial benefits that the city has received since the receiver has been here? I'm not talking about loans. I'm talking about financial benefits that the city has received for the past 4 years. And finally, there's a group called Dwight Capital. I thought that was going to be on the agenda today. Dwight Capital has been on the agenda since 2021. Dwight Capital is going to provide this city with jobs, a tax base. It's going to beautify our downtown area and beyond. And they've been working on this since 2021. It was supposed to be on the agenda today, but for some strange reason, the receivers chose to take it off the agenda. And I think that's unfair to the citizenry and the members of this community, because we had a great opportunity. Been working with them since 2021. Council knows that, everybody knows that, but the citizens don't know that. And I would hope that you would share that information with them. Everybody doesn't listen to the receiver on his whatever, but it's important that folks know and have that information. We talk about transparency. Let's be about transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Alethea Davis Moses.
Mayor.
Morning.
Good morning, council.
Good morning.
I just have a couple of questions. I noticed that you had two residents that have the handicapped. How long does it take to receive handicap parking? And how long does it take for someone to, I guess I had brought in last meeting the pictures of the poison ivy. How long does it take for someone to address that issue? And for the bulk trash, who picks it up? Because I sat out one thing, no one never came, but I can't hold the stuff in my house. So I had to sit the other piece of furniture out. Now, the 2 dressers were picked up, but they still have not picked up the mattress. They still have not picked up the top of the dresser with the mirror attached to it. And I don't want that glass to break and then that be all over the ground. And last but not least, do we have an animal control? Because there have been pit bulls running around with no one attached to them. And my son takes our dog out, and I don't want him to get risk of being bit. But there are pit bulls running loose, and I don't know who to call for help. That's it.
Okay, thank you. That is our last public comment, but I think a few of these questions could be answered with regard to Mr. Kirkland's questions, all those referring to ARPA. Would you be all right if we contact you directly with responses? Okay. And the Dwight Capital comment that you made, you are correct. That was an item that you'll see on your agenda today. It was taken off at the request of the receiver. I think we all up here, yourself, who have been working with Dwight, they're looking to bring a really nice project to downtown Chester, multi-apartment, multi-unit, multi-apartment dwelling. There are, over the course of time, things have changed. The property, which they're starting on phase 1, has some PICO issues. There's a list that obviously you didn't receive of questions that the receiver wants answered. I don't think there's anything proprietary there. We could share that with you as well. But we are all trying to resolve this issue so we can get some density, some housing density in Center City. I certainly support any building, any development in Center City when it comes to development to bring people back to downtown. It would certainly spark retail and all those other things that downtowns will do. So we're continuing to work to resolve that through those of us up here, CETA, the White City Group, and the receiver, and now economic development. I'm going to go on the line and say we're going to get it done. How long does it take to get it? Do you remember how long what the process for handicap parking is?
Are you talking about after the application process, where once they get all their information in, how long does it take to install the actual sign? When did you turn it in? Last month?
I think she's referring to the whole process as a whole from the application.
Well, the whole process, it depends on, if you, from start to finish, can take about 30 days.
Okay. That's what she
About 30 days. But then you said you've turned everything in. Okay. And you paid your $25. Okay, what has to happen is that there needs to be an inspection. Someone needs to come out to your property, and then if everything is clear, we'll get your address. Sean, you know where her house is? Okay, can you check on that for me? Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Drawn will check on that for you to see what's going on with your application. And the bulk trash, the way it goes is that you put out one piece of bulk on your trash day, and the regular trash vendor is to pick it up. Now, if you have a problem with them and you put out one piece at a time, your mattress, was that covered in plastic? Okay. Well, then I would call through to Public Works Department. This is 610-447-777888. Okay. Just call them and let them know, and they'll check into it for you.
And no, we do not have an animal control officer. And for poison ivy, Sean, can you talk to her about the poison ivy? All right, thank you. I think that wraps it up. I have, well, council, let's wrap this up with our comments, but I do have one. It's something that kind of slipped. They don't hear. On Thursday at 10:45 p.m., I received a phone call from Fire Commissioner J.P. Shirley. Whenever I get phone calls from anybody that late, I know it ain't good news. And it wasn't. There was a report of one of our fire personnel going out on a jet ski, recreation, after work, no problem with that. But he was going to meet somebody out on the Delaware River on the other side in Jersey, and that person did not connect with our firefighter who was out on a jet ski. And as it was getting close to dark, he got concerned, made the phone calls, and hence the big search began. When I showed up at the Ridley Township Wharf, Marina, whatever we call it, out there where Stingers is, the boats were just going into the water. And I can tell you that it was mostly the Ridley Fire Department, Chester Fire Department, maybe another local fire department was putting the boats in the water. At least 4 boats were on their way into the water, with a couple already launched. It was very somber mood, especially after this summer losing a young child in the creek drowning, being 2.5, 3 hours after this person went into the water with no report. It was looking bleak until maybe 15 minutes later, there was a call on the fire radio that somebody is hollering for help darn near 11:30 at night from an island that's out here on the Delaware River, Little Tennecum Island it's called. I'm going to just fast forward and say it ended up as a good news story, but one of the funnier moments of the night that kind of broke the ice was that when the report came in that someone was hollering for help, one of the fire personnel said, well, there can't be 2 people lost out on the river. That's got to be our guy. So we took the boat over there, absolutely found the guy, got him gone. What happened was his jet ski just failed him, and he got it restarted, but it failed him again. Fortunately, he had his life jacket on. Fortunately, he could swim, so he swam to the island, Little Tennecum Island, I think it's called. Unfortunately, the person he was going to meet passed him 4 or 5 times right there on the water. Didn't see him, didn't hear him. When you hear his account of what went on, mosquitoes was tearing him up. He buried himself in the sand, thinking that he would be there stranded on the island until the next day. But I just want to give credit to all the fire departments, all the water rescue guys that came out full force to have a good news ending. The crazy part about this whole story is I'm sure many of you didn't even hear this story. It just shows you how bad news travels fast and good news kind of gets stalled out there. It was in the paper, not a lot of detail, but I couldn't let this moment pass without thanking the fire department, Chester Fire Department, the Ridley Fire Department, whoever else showed up out there. It had a good ending. So just know if you're going to go out and play in the water, make sure your equipment's in top-notch shape. Make sure you take your cell phone with you. They have waterproof casings. Make sure you have your life jacket on. And make sure you go out with enough time to have plenty of daylight. You know, to get in the water at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you only have a couple hours there before it gets dark. Was really fortunate, really blessed, really happy. The guy came to work the next day. I mean, just a remarkable story. So thank you guys for that. Any comments from council?
I'll say I concur with Reverend Thaddeus Kirkland said. And in terms of the Dwight City Capital Group, that project, I was working on that project when I was on the school board. And so I know it's a long time coming. You know, we passed the tax abatement with the school board and also with the city. And so I've been pushing for this project for a number of years, and I really want to see it get done. Here you have a group that is going to develop upwards of 700 apartment units downtown, and that's going to beautify our downtown, bring in some residential, commercial, some shops, and you know, a whole lot of good for Chester. So I'm sad to see that the receiver and his team has continued to block this. It is my hope that it's on a city council's agenda very, very soon. And I don't understand why he turned it off today. All of mayor and council up here, the chief and CETA and everyone, we wanted to see this project happen, and we want to see this project go through because it's going to bring a number of jobs, it's going to bring residential, and it's going to bring a tax base. And one of the things we need in the city is economic development, housing development, and a strong tax base, and that's going to add to our tax base. So I hope that the receiver and his team do move this forward soon. So, and have a great week.
What about you, Councilman Davis? You have any comments?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on one thing we voted on today, the agenda with the $200,000 going to help the police department. I know that nationwide we had an incident yesterday or the day before yesterday with the young lady, Sonia Macy, and Commissioner Gretzky walked out, but I want to say thank you for the Chester Police Department for continuing to protect and serve our community. I ask that you continue to push the envelope, that we get more police officers in our community who are from our community, who care, who want to receive the proper training and actually go about doing healthy practices in policing communities. I think that's a very important job. You know, you all go out every day and risk your lives. I'm happy that Delaware County was able to get us some money and support our police here in the city of Chester, but as a city and as a state, I just ask that we all come together as people and, you know, do better. I'm happy to see the job that you're all doing, but, you know, it's not enough. You know, we're asking that, you know, the proper training continues to happen. We're asking that, you know, that you all continue to do a great job protecting and serving us. But when I seen that news of that young lady losing her life in her own home after she called the police to her home was you know, disheartening. So I want to take the time to thank you all for the hard work that you all do. I want to thank Delaware County for giving us this money to help and support our police department here in the city of Chester. But I just wanted to bring that to our attention because I believe it was important and it was on my heart. So thank you. But, you know, I know we have a long way to go, and we as mayor and council will continue to help and support you all as long as everything is done on up and up in the right way. So that's it.
Echo what Councilman Davis said. The applications have to be in by August 2nd. So if you follow Facebook, it's been posted out. Please spread the word. I think we're close to almost 20 applicants that are going to take the test. But you can spread the word, echo the message. The more the merrier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to thank our first responders. Commissioner Gretzky is on call 24/7. He gets phone calls from me 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I want to thank you and your staff for all of your hard work for protecting our city and our firefighters. And then the staff here at City Hall, I'm telling you, you guys work hard. People will always want to say, you all are not doing anything, but I see you, and I know you're working hard. And I'm glad we're going to be reviewing the salaries, you know, and looking at what we can do for our employees that we have had here for years, and they're making minimal wages, and I know you know that, and you're looking at that. So, okay, and to the community, I want to thank all of you for coming out and letting your voice be heard. As far as the situation with the Dwight Capital, you know, it's been a long time. It's been about, what, 3 or 4 years or something like that, that we've been, you know, waiting to get this project done. And whatever it is that is needed from them, let's get it all in. You know, it's my understanding they've turned in a lot of their required paperwork and what have you. So, you know, I feel that whatever is needed, let's say it, let's get it done, and let's get the work started, okay? And Councilman?
Yes, my very last thing, and I'm going to let everyone go. Something that I know that we all agree on, that we've been talking about, as we are public servants, we are public officials, we are here to serve you all as our constituents. We are elected here to be a voice for you all who don't sit up here, we vote. It's disheartening sometimes for me to hear from community members that you might have ideas, you might have recommendations, and those ideas and those recommendations don't go any further than your group chats that you all have, or sidebar meetings, or whatever you do in the community. We are here to serve you all. We are here to listen. City Hall is always open. I have been very adamant about saying I give anybody my personal and City Hall mobile number. Contact us with any questions, concerns, ideas, resources that you might have, so that we can use them to better our community. If you have something going on that we can support, or you have ideas that can push the city of Chester forward, please bring them to City Hall so we can hear you. You having a group chat with 20 people about what you think the city of Chester can do and how we can benefit from it, and it doesn't go past your group chat, it's not doing anything for 19013. It's just going to stay in your group chat, and then you're going to feel as though you don't have a voice or you're not being heard, and that's not the case. You're just keeping it all to yourself, or your close friends, or your family, or whoever you're keeping it to. But that's not healthy community, and that's not how a healthy government can operate. So I'm asking everyone, because I know for a fact it's happening, if you have ideas and anything that can help push Chester forward, please bring it to City Hall so we can hear you, and that we can use our voice and our resources to continue to serve you all as public servants. That's all I wanted to say. I'm not going to hold up anybody's time. Thank you for giving me a platform to speak. Thank you.
Always a pleasure hearing from you. Also, Chief Leitner, the council, we know that the mayor is kept in the loop a lot of times about, you know, some of these capital improvement projects, and you guys do give us a report, but we'd like to be able to sit at the table too. We want to sit at the table with you, you know, and find out what's going on. Just like with the White Capitol, we want to be at the table, okay? Thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions? This meeting is now adjourned. I can't help it. It's not my fault. I don't control it.